Hello and welcome back to the Pitwall Podcast. This week we are going to break down the Italian Grand Prix at Monza.
This is a Grand Prix that saw Max's 10th win in a row. The Monza curse broken, maybe. Actually, maybe not.
Maybe.
People maybe losing their seats, people maybe getting their seats, people re-signing, people not re-signing, maybe a Ferrari controversy or two. Lots of things going on. So really good stuff going on right now in the F1 world. We're in full swing again after the summer break and several races to go. So before we get started, just want to say subscribe, all that good stuff. Like it, follow us at the Pitwall Pod. And before we get into the race, let's hit a quali in 60 real fast, and then we'll get into some news in the race. So, go. All right, so first thing to note is that Lance Stroll got 20th, while Fernando Alonso did not get 20th. That's going to be a big talking point. K-Mag, both Haas's didn't do super great, but K-Mag was P19. Both Alpines in the bottom five at 18 and 17, and Zhou Guanyu making up the bottom five as well. Logan Sargent got out, but only to 15th, with Valtteri Bottas ahead of him, and then Nico Hulkenberg, as mentioned before, in 13th. Liam Lawson in his second F1 qualifying at P12, with Yuki Tsunoda just barely missing it in P11. Alonso in 10th. Lando Norris, surprisingly, in 9th. Not a great showing from McLaren this weekend. Mercedes, 8th. Bad qualifying once again. P7 for Oscar Piastri. 6th for Albon, the man himself. Checo made 5th ahead of Russell, Leclerc, Max Verstappen in 2nd, and then amazingly, a Ferrari pole, Carlos Sainz. So, good quali. It was a good quali. So, that's how the weekend kind of started, I guess. In practice, the only thing really notable, Checo crashed one time. And Stroll, Felipe Drugovich was in his car. Then in FP2, it has like some issue, and he didn't get to run basically at all on Friday, and then had to basically go straight into qualifying on Saturday. So not a great weekend for Lance Stroll. So there's some news I want to talk about, but I actually think most of it will happen as we talk / after. So I'll get into it. So cool. Do you want to start by talking about what happened before the race even started?
Let's do it.
Okay. So on their out lap, or on their formation lap, we're driving, and Yuki Tsunoda pulls over to the side. It was chaos instantly. Are we going to start the race? Are we going to abort the procedure? They abort the procedure because there's a car stuck on track. And then they're sitting there. The cars are sitting there. The teams are trying to get out because and then there's like lights issues because they're having, like, listen, if Ferrari was going to have a good weekend, there had to still be an Italian problem. Obviously. Anyway, so that happened. They did another formation lap, so it ended up cutting down 2 laps of the race. They got Yuki out of the way. He was stuck in gear, and I can go ahead and tell you, obviously, he didn't race. And I have some theories about some things that we'll talk about after we talk about Red Bull. But it was an isolated issue, they said, with something to do with his power unit. They're trying to be kind of vague about it, but obviously Yuki did not even start. So we were going to start the Italian Grand Prix with only 19 drivers, and they were concerned about the cars overheating, the tires not being ready, the brakes being too hot, et cetera, et cetera. None of that actually ended up being a factor. Other than maybe for Lewis, but not really. So I'll talk about that when we get there too. So anyway, with that said, go ahead and give us Red Bull's race.
So we obviously had Max winning a great race, and obviously he broke that consecutive win record, not tied anymore. So that was awesome for him. Checo, he had a rough race, but he did the job of a number 2 driver, I think.
Yep.
And I think that's all they're really asking him to do anymore.
So why do you say he had a rough race?
It's for a Red Bull.
Oh, yeah, you're saying you should start in second or third, I guess.
Yeah. But that's just kind of how it's been.
So what did you think about the Ferrari pole? That was pretty surprising.
This weekend was set up for the Monza curse to be real.
Oh, it's still real. We're
not about real, but for it to completely happen as it should.
Yep. Yeah.
It was set up okay, there's a chance he's not on pole.
Yeah.
Something could happen.
Uh-huh.
And especially it was a Ferrari on pole. Like that's just something bad's happening somewhere.
Well, how was let's go a little different at this.
Yeah.
How was Sainz's race overall?
I mean, not bad.
Yeah, so he held off for a while, right?
Yeah, I mean, starting from pole, he held off 2 Red Bulls for a while.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah,
most of the time
Checo
in
was
these
pretty far enough back.
Yeah. But most of the time in these races, within lap 4, Max is already, if
Gone.
he's P2, he's P1 by at least like 5 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, I thought his defending was a little sus at times. Lots of swerving, but you know what? With the year that we're having, I'm very glad they just let it go. They're just, you know what?
Yeah,
we're just gonna let it fight. It's Italy, like it's really good for their fans. I'm glad that they got to see that. And I mean, Ferrari, I can't really think of a mistake they made this weekend. I mean, there's a couple times I thought maybe they should have let Leclerc pass. But I don't really think it ended up mattering. They even let them fight, which was awesome.
Ferrari put on a show, man.
Ferrari put on a show. Yeah.
Like how you were talking about with the defense from Checo with the Bulls. Or, Checo, Max.
Yeah.
Sorry, I meant.
In Abu Dhabi. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, he did throw down that day. It must be said. It didn't really matter, but like he did. It was very impressive. Absolute animal. Yeah, so I thought Ferrari did pretty well. Leclerc got P4. I actually wrote it down incorrectly. Let me make sure. Yeah, I'm not crazy. Okay, he got P4. I wrote it down as P5 on my sheet by accident. So they had a crazy fight at the end of the race. It was setting up for them to fight the last podium position, which I was really excited to see.
Yeah.
And they come over the radio and say no risks. I rewatched this from Leclerc's perspective because, you know, when they play the engineer's voice, they don't always play it at a time that you know exactly when it was said.
Yeah.
They said it as Leclerc was about to go into a corner where he locked up, and the main time they almost hit, he said it, and Leclerc was like, I didn't hear that, and like immediately like went for it.
Oh, gosh.
Like just not listening at all. And it was amazing. Like genuinely, I really enjoyed it. It was a good race. And clearly Ferrari built like a Monza spec car for this. I think they threw new engines at it. They know what this is about. They knew this is their last race where it actually mattered.
Yeah.
And they got a man on podium. And also, did you see all the Ferrari fans saying the wrong man was on pole position? Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
So, and also
I was on Twitter on Ferrari's post of Carlos's podium. Like one of the top comments was should have been Charles.
Yeah, what? Like you can't be happy. Like it's not like he's Italian.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. And I think. No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not sure. Geographically, I was trying to think which one is closer, but it's kind of close.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. And now there's this apparently Carlos Sainz's mom is liking posts or something about Leclerc being a jerk or something. I don't know. And now it's turned into like a whole thing. Whatever. Who cares?
Another Ferrari thing.
So, without further ado, you mentioned that Max won, correct?
Correct.
That's very odd, considering the fact that the Monza curse is 100% real.
Yeah.
Correct?
Correct.
So here's 2 reasons why the Monza curse is still real and it will rear its head once again in a more obvious way.
Okay.
Reason number 1. Max has already crashed at Monza in 2021 with Lewis Hamilton, and the crash was his fault.
Yep.
So it might have been like an opposite thing, right? Because he won in 2022, but he crashed in 21. So like it worked its way backwards. But the real, actual reason why the Monza curse is still real is because of Yuki. And I'm not saying I'm being very clear. I am not saying they did it on purpose. Yeah. I would love to believe that they did it on purpose. But I do not think they did it on purpose because there's no way they knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
So Max was dealing with an issue the last 2 laps.
Yep.
Conveniently, the 2 laps they did not actually race at full race speed because of Yuki.
Yep.
He's dealing with some unknown engine issue. Is that correct? You saw the same thing. Unknown engine issue they were not going to say. But he was losing 3 seconds a lap to Checo in the final 2 laps.
Yep.
Actually, I think it was the final 4 laps, but the issue was really the last 2 laps.
Yeah.
So theoretically, if Yuki had not screwed up or like they had not messed up his car, Max may have DNF'd on the final lap, theoretically, which would have made Checo win the race.
Yep.
I mean, it still would have been another Red Bull race win in a row. I mean, theoretically, I guess if he had DNF'd with 2 laps left, now they would have finished under a safety car like last year.
The way I think it worked was Yuki sacrificed his engine
Oh,
to the
that's how it
F1
works.
gods
Yeah.
and let Max win the race.
So I am not joking about this. I'm still a believer in this curse.
Yeah.
Even though Max won, is trying to hide. It doesn't want to be that obvious.
The only time that Max has had problems
with his car the whole
MONZA.
year. Yeah. His car the whole
That's
year.
saying something.
Well, that's not true. He had a hydraulic issue in qualifying, but he still won that race.
But
No,
he
he got
also wasn't
second.
losing
He got
power like that, was he?
No. So, exactly. So, and you know what? The other reason I'm not willing to say that Yuki did this on purpose is actually it saved Lewis Hamilton as well. I don't know if you know about this. Lewis Hamilton was dealing with, okay, well, first of all, Mercedes is just screwing up again. I'm really upset about this. George had a new engine for this weekend, and Lewis was using his oldest engine.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Anybody?
Wait, his oldest?
His oldest
So
engine.
not like
His oldest engine of this year.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, his first race engine.
They swapped him into an older engine.
Yes, I think there's something wrong with his middle engine,
Oh.
or like it didn't pass some test
Yeah.
or whatever. But, so not only that, that's like a okay, whatever. I
Yeah,
mean, he
yeah.
ended up getting right behind George. Okay, whatever. Maybe he would have been a little ahead, but they're not
Yeah.
really fighting. Well, Lewis is trying to get P2 in this and
Construction.
the drivers, but I don't think it's gonna happen
Oh,
anyway.
yeah.
I think he'll get P3. With that said, he also the entire race only had 50% brake efficiency,
Mm-hmm.
which is just terrible.
Yeah.
And they said literally they found out later. They knew the whole time. It could have gone at any moment.
Oh, yeah.
So, and they're theorizing that 2 more laps would have done it in. So, whatever.
Yeah.
I take it. I'll walk away with it. The Monza curse is still real. Yuki Tsunoda was the sacrificed. It's not a coincidence that they're bringing them in back as more of a junior team,
Mm-hmm.
and they sacrificed it. It all worked out.
It worked out. It worked
Anyway.
out for the better.
Anyway, let me finish
Max.
with Mercedes, and I'll throw it to you for somebody else.
Okay.
Actually, Mercedes had quite an eventful race, to be honest. So, Lewis had a collision with Piastri late in the race that he openly admitted that was his fault. I thought it was I thought it was his fault, but I thought it wasn't like a huge screw up kind of thing. Like, I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm not just trying to defend Lewis on everything.
Yeah.
I think it was his fault. I'm just saying it wasn't like the most egregious thing. So 5 seconds is reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
And then the man decided to make up 5 seconds in 2 laps. So it really just screwed Piastri, which, let's see, where did he finish? It was not good. I think P12 is where he finished. Yeah, P12.
Yeah.
So he had a pretty rough time, broke his front wing. Lewis got out of the car immediately and apologized to him after the race because he's the best. And he got P6. George got P5. He also had a penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage on Esteban Ocon and didn't give the place back, which is just awesome. And I'm hoping you know why. I do not know why Ocon retired, but Ocon ended up retiring, so it didn't matter anyway. So he got a penalty. Again, didn't matter. Go ahead. Tell us what happened to Ocon.
So he DNF'd, or he retired the car for a precaution because early in the race he had multiple steering wheel lockups and they didn't want it to cause any more damage, so they just retired the car.
Do you know what lap it was? Because honestly, I didn't notice until the race results because it was just one of those quiet battles, you know?
Yeah.
It had to be real late.
It was pretty late. What was it?
Well, while you're looking that up,
Yeah.
Gasly didn't
I'll
have
find
a
out real
particularly interesting race as well. P15, so coming off a podium, not great.
How many laps were on this?
51.
It says 12 laps from the end of the race, so
Oh man,
it was pretty late.
that's a terrible time to
Yeah.
DNF. I'd rather DNF in the first lap. If you do
Yeah.
all that work just for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, Monza's a fun track to drive though, but not if you have steering issues.
Yeah, that's true. Another blue team. I'm going to talk about Logan Sargent.
Okay, go for it.
And Albon, obviously, because like I said, this was set up for your prediction to kind of come true.
It was looking good.
It was looking like when I saw qualifying, and I'm like, that's a Q3.
Yeah, it was looking good.
It was. I was like, Nick could have something brewing here.
Also, shout out to Duracell for commenting on our post.
Yeah, that was awesome. So thank you. Logan Sargent, though, P13.
Yeah.
Honestly, not much to talk about, but I didn't expect him to stay on pace because he was running an older spec front wing and power unit.
That I did not know.
Yeah.
Huh.
So we're not dogging on Logan Sargent this race because he got a P13 in a worse spec.
It's funny because I have some stuff to dog on him for.
Yeah, you can talk about how he races.
That is
just
a fair
pace.
thing I did not know.
Can't dog on the pace.
What did he finish?
P13.
He got a penalty though, right?
I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, he got a penalty for I think a collision.
Mm-hmm.
So that is unfortunate. But you know what? That happens. It's Monza. If two Mercedes drivers can do it, you know. So no, but for real, James Vowles straight up said that he has to fight to keep his seat.
Yeah.
Like it's his seat to earn at this point.
Yeah.
It's kind of what we've been saying.
Yep. I think you even said like within the past 2 weeks that it like literally it was his seat to earn at this point. He's already lost it. Now he's got to earn it back.
I mean, what do you think?
I think you're 100% right.
No, I mean, do you think he's going to earn it?
Oh, now that's a different story.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been too many downs, not enough ups.
I keep hearing a lot of stuff of Mick Schumacher saying he has no options at the same time, which makes me think it's
We also heard he had already had options from the start of the season.
Very confusing. I want him to stay as the reserve driver for as long as possible because apparently he's great at the sim.
Be Mercedes driver.
I don't know. I don't think he's got that. He doesn't. He can't go straight to Mercedes. He needs to work his way up again. So I mean, a couple years at Williams would be fine.
As long as he's not in a Haas again, I'm happy.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. So I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah.
Also, another interesting thing since you mentioned Haas, I don't think we covered this. There's a potential lawsuit happening between Gunther and Gene Haas. Have you heard about this?
Oh, because of like the Russian thing?
No. So kind of.
Okay.
So apparently in 2019. Gene Haas either verbally or in a very like uncontractual but sort of contractual agreement was going to give 50% of the racing team to Gunther as like a here's your ownership, like you deal with it kind of thing. And now Gene is not owning up to that promise. Probably because the team is worth a lot more now. Even though they're not that success. Their success hasn't changed at all, really.
Fan base has though.
Yes, for sure. So, and I'm guessing that Gunther wants to do something with that. I mean, maybe he wants to try and sell to Andretti. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
But so potential lawsuit happening within Haas, which is just never good. So, they should have got that. He should have got that in writing. Just saying that right now. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, anything like that big, 50% of a team, that you have to have a written contract for that.
Well, in the weirdest segue ever, how about you tell me about Nico Hülkenberg's race?
Nothing really interesting once again to talk about Hülkenberg. Got a P17, had like decent qualifying pace, but they just couldn't match race pace. It's kind of like Haas's story now.
Yeah, P18 K-Mag, same thing. I mean, that's clear where they are because they finished right next to each other.
Yep.
I think it was Hülkenberg afterward that said they were the only team that didn't bring any sort of aero specific for Monza.
Yeah.
Which is bad.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no excuse. There's just none. I mean, I could tell. I could see it on their front wing. I mean, their rear wing. It just looked big compared to everybody else's. So, I mean, the rear wings change less than compared to older years.
Yep.
You go back and watch the 2018 Italian Grand Prix, you're like, holy crap, that rear wing is so small.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just Haas just makes me sad these days, man. I have no hope. I used to have hope for them.
Yeah, honestly.
And they're just extending.
No one's ever used to be a little delusional. Now it's.
What if Andretti, which I want to talk about, Andretti gets a team and gets a podium like within the first 10 races? Just how bad would that look?
It would look really bad for a lot of these teams.
Yeah. Well, Andretti will come up. Yeah, that's true. Andretti will come up later. How about Alonso?
Yeah.
Okay.
A P9 from Alonso, so not another podium. He said that this was their toughest race of the season, and we can obviously tell. He wasn't happy with the car pace. Any Aston Martin fan wouldn't be happy with the car pace. It was just a rough weekend from them. I don't like even qualifying was rough for them, I think.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, he got P10 in qualifying and then got P9 in the race. So it's a bad weekend for Aston.
Yeah, Stroll was only faster than the Haas's, P16.
Yep.
I believe he obviously had some car issues like I talked about.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that I mostly want to touch on is the audacity that Mike Crack had before the race, or I think it was Thursday. Mm-hmm. Not only did he say Stroll was safe for 2024, no one's surprised. I'm not even going to get mad about it. What putting Stroll in the seat is not illegal. It's just annoying.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad. What I am mad about is the fact that he said he sees no delta. This is his exact words. He sees no delta in time from Alonso to Stroll. He sees no difference in performance. This is what he said. That is straight up wrong. All right, take last week. Alonso, podium. Stroll, P11.
Yep.
This week in qualifying, Stroll was almost 0.3 seconds off of 19th place. And he qualified 20th. Fernando Alonso qualified 10th. Huge difference. He's almost a second slower than Alonso. 0.86 slower than Alonso.
Man.
Listen, I don't know if he has to say this. I don't know what the situation is. I'm sure it can't be the most comfortable situation. Mm-hmm. But that's just don't say that. Like, it's not true. Like, look
don't say anything. Just,
how many podiums has Stroll had? How many? Like, it's just, there's so many things. It just keeps going. It just makes me so frustrated. Like, are you kidding me? So, that seat is obviously never going to be up for grabs for quite some time.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But I just would, if you have to have Stroll, you need to work on developing it more. I mean, I know they're working with him, and he did say that too, to be fair. Yeah. But the fact that he came out and said that he doesn't see any difference is just... Alonso's a 2-time world champion. Come on. I'm sorry. 32 race wins. All right, I'm done. I think. We'll see.
You think?
Stroll got P16.
Yep.
Do you want to tell me about Lawson?
I do.
Okay.
So Lawson is looking better than any AlphaTauri driver in the last 2 years in his second race in Formula One.
Yeah.
So he finished P11, which obviously AlphaTauri has gotten higher than that in the last 2 years. I think once.
10th a couple times.
Yeah.
Yuki's Mr. 10th this year.
Yeah, that's right. So it's a lot of improvement just from last week alone, and I know there's a lot of changes to the car for a Monza race, but still, compared from Zandvoort to here, it's improvement and you can see that. Obviously, he got thrown into it last week, so things are looking promising for him. I think he can have a seat.
So it's sounding like, and I think it was Helmut Marko.
Yep.
I'm not sure. Someone said it that Ricardo isn't going to be there for Singapore, which you already knew.
Yep.
And probably not Qatar either.
Mm.
Oh, sorry, Japan. Sorry.
Yeah.
Now that's rough.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is, I'm so sad for Ricardo. This is so terrible.
It's so unfortunate.
It's literally just luck. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's a 2-second difference between he could have been a little further back and seen Piastri, or a little further forward and been past Piastri.
Yep.
That's all it is. He didn't do anything wrong. I mean, I guess he could let go of the steering wheel, but still, he can't be expected to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's jumped both De Vries and Ricardo in the standings. All he has to do is score a point, and he'll jump Sargent.
Yeah.
It's getting wild, man. And he's looking good. He's looking solid.
Yeah.
He made a couple amazing overtakes in the race. He made this one from the Haas from 3 laps behind to pass or something. It was crazy. So obviously the Haas's wasn't fast, but I mean, if it was you right now, point blank, who would you put in the AlphaTauri seat?
What, between Liam and Ricardo?
Yes. Yuki's not confirmed either.
You can't ask me that.
I can't.
Okay, well,
it's a tough call.
I love all these drivers.
I know. If I had my choice, I'd get rid of Yuki, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah, But also I don't know, man. It's tough.
I know.
I need more data.
You need more data?
Yeah, I need more data from Lawson.
Yeah. Well, it's quite possible that...
I mean, we're going to get it. We're going to get some data from him these next few weeks.
This is true. Singapore will be a big test.
I agree.
Test.
We're going to... I'm excited to see that race.
Favorite race of the calendar every single year. other than probably Silverstone. But I think obviously I already covered Yuki.
We haven't talked about Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, we always forget Alfa Romeo. Oh, Bottas scored a point.
He did.
Yeah, Valtteri Bottas, future Ferrari driver,
Good job,
scored a point.
I forgot about that.
Dude, come on, it'll happen. We gotta start making some shirts. It's a future Ferrari driver. Speaking of which, I was thinking if Albon did win, that Formula Bone would have to stop selling his shirts to say "Win this racing."
Oh yeah,
because they would have won. So, anyway, I mean, nothing else to note. They barely showed Bottas. I didn't even realize he got a point until I looked at the results after the race. So, because I don't think they showed him one time on screen except for in a wide shot of everybody else. So,
oh yeah.
How was your Grand News race?
P14. He got held up in traffic in qualifying, and it kind of just messed him up for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
So not much else to talk about. P14 finish.
But the livery.
Oh,
the livery was so good. The gold. Oh man, it was the perfect livery. It might be my favorite of the year, to be honest. It might be my favorite of any car.
Really?
Of the year. Yeah,
I mean, it's super nice.
McLaren Triple Crown is probably in second, and then Mercedes.
Yeah, Triple Crown I really liked.
Those are probably tied, and then Mercedes Black is obviously up there too. So those three are my favorites.
Yep.
So, and I'm glad Mercedes doesn't do any special liveries, to be honest, especially because the last time it happened did not go well. So
yeah, fair enough.
I think that's everybody.
I have some rumors and some a quote that I want to get your opinion on.
Okay, let's go for it. Come on.
Okay, so this is Lando and Red Bull rumors from Helmut Marko.
Okay.
Marko said, quote, in terms of youth and good speed, he would be a good fit. Sergio, on the other hand, is already over 30, is having his fourth child. He already has other interests, so we will have to see what happens next. That is from Marko.
I think he also was quoted as saying, unfortunately, they're both still in a contract.
Yes.
Oh, man.
So
what is happening?
While Christian is saying Checo safe, Marko is trying everything in his power to tell us he isn't.
I don't know what's happening, if that's your question.
Yeah. I just wanted your opinion. I guess we've talked about this a lot, but I just thought it was funny how Marko is just does not give a crap.
Yeah, pulls no punches.
Yeah.
Here's all I'll say. Christian Horner didn't want De Vries. Marko did.
Yeah.
And De Vries got the seat. So I think that they can get Lando in the seat before his contract's out? No. He's not a quitter. He would not do that. Do I think that they could fire Checo at literally any moment? Yeah. I think they'll let him finish this year for sure.
Yeah.
But
you think he's out next season?
I'm not willing to make that prediction yet, but I have a suspicion that by this time next year, something will have happened.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. I think it really depends on if he actually gets P2 in the drivers.
It's really I think he will. It's really complicated.
It's going to be how close it is too.
Well, yes. It's really complicated with this whole Ricciardo situation because I don't think they're ready to move Lawson all the way there.
No.
But I think they want Ricciardo in that seat. So I do think when Ricciardo's healthy, he'll have it's actually the perfect situation, to be honest, other than Ricciardo being injured, of course.
Yeah.
Which is Ricciardo gets some races after this to just go pedal to the metal.
Yep.
And all right, who had the better results? All right, Lawson. All right, you're in, and then we'll see what happens with Checo. So,
yeah.
I don't know. That's a quote. That's quite the quote.
And then another one. This is from Fernando Alonso, and it has to do with Mercedes as well. So I wanted your opinion on this. When Hamilton went to Mercedes in 2013, he didn't build anything to be a champion. It was just a change of regulations that changed everything on the grid and raised Mercedes. I think the same with Max when he joined Toro Rosso and Red Bull. Hamilton continued to earn his all until another regulatory change. So he's basically saying all of their championships are because of regulation changes, and they didn't build anything for it.
And it's luck. It's luck, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I don't think he's 100% wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think there is a lot that goes into it, especially the changes that happened those two times.
Yeah.
Because going to a hybrid and then go into this, I think it's a lot comes down to who gets it right. So it's obviously car dependent. That's what makes Formula One special. It's not a spec series, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things that can be said about some of the ways that Alonso has been lucky. I think there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
He's made some bad decisions, like team changing decisions that didn't pan out. I think that he's benefiting. His podiums this year are the benefit of regulations because of wind tunnel time, cost cap, all that stuff. If Mercedes, do you think Mercedes would still be having these problems with cost cap? They like to act like they wouldn't, but I know Mercedes. And I know
would
that
be spending everything they had to get
they would spend $1 billion on this car probably, like literally $1 billion to fix it, and by this time next year would have the best car probably.
Yeah,
I mean, not that Red Bull wouldn't be throwing money at it too, but when you got places to go, there's only so much potential. There is a cap to how fast these cars can go. Yeah, no one's reached it, I'm sure, but next season, I'm sure the Haas will be 1.5 seconds faster than the current Haas. Doesn't mean it's going to be first place. So I think he's benefited from Aston Martin and those regulations. So I think at the end of the day, he's not wrong, but he has to think about the fact that this is true for everybody. Yeah. And it's not just them. And Schumacher was at Ferrari at the right time. And calm down. I can already hear the comments. It's okay. He built up the team. Yes, they had a really good team. That's what I'm saying about everybody. So easy. So, I mean, look at Lando and McLaren. It's like wrong timing.
Yeah.
Now,
if Lando ever wins anything, that'll be a build-up story.
This is true. But watch Lando go to Red Bull in 2026. Red Bull sucks. Regulation change. McLaren's the best team. Could
happen. Yeah, you're right.
It won't.
No,
because McLaren hasn't done well at
keeping that leash on Lando as long as they can.
Well, that and they're terrible at regulation changes. Yeah. So that's a good question, though. I hadn't really thought about it. I saw his one about Max because that's how my articles are fed to me with the Mercedes bias. So any more you got? Because I have a couple things.
That's it.
Okay, so biggest shock to me in the whole F1 season is that not a single team broke the cost cap, apparently. Found that out yesterday. I'm not saying I thought Red Bull did. I thought Mercedes did. I was sure.
With how many upgrades they were bringing in changes, I thought they did.
Dude, I would have put half my own personal money that Aston Martin spent way more than they should have. So, I mean, good on them. Or a lot of people are theorizing that like 8 teams broke it and they were all like, all right, we're just going to pretend like nothing happened.
Man.
So
Austin Williams is sitting there like, huh?
Well, wait, you have more than $5? You're not using the Ferrari from last year like we are. So I'm not surprised. But are you surprised?
No, not really. The only people I really thought was that actually did was Mercedes, but then again, I was also like, it's Mercedes. I doubt they would.
Not Aston. Mm-mm. I bet Mercedes is to the penny, though.
Oh yeah,
I guarantee you it's to the penny. Yeah. I'm convinced Red Bull never will again for multiple reasons. One, because it happened. Two, because I think they're getting very smart about how they're structuring their pay between their two teams, which is fine. I mean, it annoys me, but I think Mercedes should have tried to buy another team a while ago. They should try to buy Williams or something. And do the same thing. So, which is kind of what they did, but anyway, I'm sure the Williams are getting a steal on their engine deal. I'll say that.
Oh yeah, probably.
Because I'm sure Williams and Aston Martin and McLaren are not paying the same amount of money. So it might be public record. I could be wrong. This is just a hunch. All right. So that was surprising. So Andretti changing all his branding this week. It's sounding like he might get approved by the FIA, and then the Liberty Media and Formula One have to approve him. Do you think we'll be seeing an 11th team anytime soon, or do you think it's going to get shot down?
An 11th team?
An 11th team. You don't?
No.
Do you think? And so, are you saying that Andretti won't be on the grid, or do you think he's going to?
I'm saying Andretti's going to buy someone.
Haas?
Yeah.
Do you think Haas will sell?
Yeah.
I think
if it was up to
Gunther.
Yeah. That's 100% yes. If it's up to Gene, he has to think on it for a few days, and then he's probably like, maybe it's time.
I hope he does. I hope I hope Gunther is tanking that team to make him sell. Yes, it would be so perfect. Like they could do it right now.
Oh yeah.
They could sell right now, and a month from now probably be better. I'm just saying, just the management, not a month from now. It doesn't work like that.
Obviously, yeah.
2 years from now. 100 race plan. No, I was kidding. So Yeah,
No,
that's
I think right now the only option is to buy a team. I don't think there's going to be an 11th team. I think that's going to just cause an uproar.
I mean, there's been more teams in the past, but I think it's perfect the way it is.
Yeah,
I
I think it should be 10 teams.
I don't think Liberty Media will agree to it. I don't think the teams will agree to it. And it makes sense. It doesn't make any business sense for either. I mean, Liberty Media maybe, but
Yeah.
any of the teams who agree to it, it's just diluting their profits.
Yep.
So, that would be very interesting. Obviously, the Haas boys resigned. Oh, I forgot to mention that. Haas boys resigned. Mercedes resigned. Thank God.
We knew it was happening.
Dude, he signed back in May. I got to step away from the microphone for this one. He signed in May, and they didn't announce it till now. Why?
They were even acting like they hadn't signed anything.
I know. What the hell? Like, come on. I think it was maybe there's like Lewis had an out still, or maybe it was like, you know how some people.
What if there was a clause?
Maybe that had to be a certain amount.
Yeah.
You know how like some people have two wills,
Yep.
and like either one is accurate, and it just depends on which one they tell. I think it might have been something like that. I don't know. It's very suspicious, but just thank you, Lewis, for resigning. So he thinks they can win a championship in his next 2 years. We'll see. I hope so.
Do you think if they don't, he'll retire?
I don't know. Don't make me answer that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he'll hang it up.
How old is he now?
He'll be 40, but he's 38, so he'll be 40 when the contract ends. Yeah. So hold on, dang it. I got to make sure. I'm pretty sure that's true.
I'm pretty sure you're right.
You're 38. Okay, good. I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Fernando Alonso also said he thinks he could race till he was 80 and people would keep him. I think retire is a strong word. I think he could be future management material for Mercedes.
Yeah, that's fair. Not completely get out of the sport, but
I think it'd be perfect. I forget how long Toto signed up to be team principal now. I think it'd be perfect, genuinely. Lewis races, becomes team principal. And Toto just backs off to be CEO.
Principal?
What?
You think he could be a team principal?
Yeah, I definitely do.
Really?
Yeah. He's a very strong, like he's got a calm style to him. He's a leader. I mean, maybe that team principal is a little too high for him. Maybe he needs to be like a Helmut Marko.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, because team principal seems like you got to be like, I don't know. You got to be a hard-headed son of a gun to.
Well, let me say this, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah.
So Sky Sports did a really interesting thing with Lewis. Actually, my dad told me about it. My dad said, "Hey, there's this cool thing about Lewis you need to watch." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So, one thing that Lewis has mentioned is all the things that he helped pioneer in the sport over the years that he never patented, and he thinks it's like a mistake in hindsight. So, for example, on the back of a driver's shoe now, like on the heel, there's a carbon fiber plate that helps them rest on it. That was his idea, he said. Now, I mean, this is what he's saying. Who knows if it's actually his idea, but let's just assume that's true. And he says, and he just went to Puma and was like, "Hey, this would be a cool idea." And then they did it, and now they sell a bunch of them. And he said, like, I've had many ideas over the years in the sport that I've just suggested where I should have tried to make money off of it, but I didn't. With that said, I'm saying he's an innovator, and I think that he has the skill set to do that kind of thing. That's a little bit of a stretch, but I think that's what. Yeah, I think you get the point. So we forgot winner and loser, Monza.
I think winner has to be Ferrari or Sainz.
Okay.
I'll just give it to Sainz. Loser.
Kind of a tougher loser race.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Ocon actually.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Ocon, just because, like, I don't know. I feel like they need something, but this wasn't it.
Yeah, I'm going to give – I'll just give winner to the Ferrari fans. They got what they needed. They seem very happy. Loser – oh, man, it's tough. I would say Albon had a good race.
Yep.
But I'm still going to give it to a tie between him and McLaren just because – their cars have been so good in different ways. McLaren is obviously not a low downforce car, but I don't know. They just had a lackluster weekend. They were not in the conversation at all. They both got clearly beaten by Mercedes. Like, kind of a rough weekend for them. It's not even like a loser compared to like when Sargent crashed. And all this stuff.
Of course.
But That's who I'm going to give it to because it's just a tougher weekend to swallow. So
that's fair.
That's about it. Best race on the calendar is coming up at F1 Night Race is what is their official thing. The Singapore race. Love this race. Tough race. It's so hot. They're always talking about how hot it is.
I saw a picture of Logan Sargent training in a heat room.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough, dude. Yeah. It doesn't seim like it because it's a night race. Can you imagine if they raced it during the day?
Oh.
Dude, the Ferrari would explode on the formation. They're redoing the track layout. Look it up online. It's pretty interesting. I don't know if I'm a fan yet. It's going to give a definite advantage to Red Bull. Wasn't done because I gotta always specify that I'm not a theorist here. It wasn't done because of Red Bull. It was done because it's to make it a little easier because it's really tough.
Yeah.
But it is a straight line now on one section of it, the bridge section. So that's a bummer, but it's okay because this is Mercedes' second to last chance to win any race, I think, on the calendar. So unless something crazy happens, which clearly it's not going to. So. If not, Red Bull's going to clean sweep then the next 9 races and 3 sprint races. So, yeah,
I hope so.
I'm not expecting anything different. In fact, I can only be happy at this point. I'm just resigned to dealing with this. So, we're seeing it through, Mercedes fans. Woo! So, anyway. Oh wait, okay. I do want to say one more thing. Oh, I said this to my dad, and I think this is interesting. I think Mercedes is the lame Formula One fan's only hope. And what I mean is the fan that can't handle, like, they're not being constant competition and all this stuff. Because lame might not be the right word. But I don't see any other team that could actually mount an attempt to take down Red Bull right now. Possible. McLaren, like, they're schizophrenic. Like, they have these terrible starts to the year. Seriously.
Yeah.
Every year, their start to the year is terrible. Prove me wrong, McLaren. Prove me wrong. But every year, the terrible start to the year. They have one of the best driver lineups on the grid, but I just don't think they can capitalize on it. Ferrari, do I even need to explain? They have a screwed up car right now. Their strategy is terrible, all this stuff. And there's no other teams. I mean, and Aston Martin, a fad, I guess. Yeah. I don't think they're going to.
Just a phase.
They're not going to improve more, I don't think. So I think Mercedes is the only team. People are saying they need the regime back to attack. So I think everybody needs to hope for Mercedes. Don't look at the hat. Everybody needs to hope for Mercedes. Said a Haas fan. Anyway, that's been it. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Bye.
Or listening. Bye.
No, you should watch. Bye.
Yeah, watch back.
And I'm going to leave this in. Here's a Ferrari pickup line for you if you kept listening. So you walk up to Ferrari and you go, hey, crap, I forgot it.
Wow.
I'm still leaving this in.
What a great ending.
No, it's great. We're leaving this in. The music's playing. Okay, hold on. Dang it. It's hey, are you a Ferrari strategist? Because I know you don't have plans this weekend.
Wow.
Goodbye.
What a great way to end it.
Bye.
Bye.